to the cloud. Okay, perfect. Okay, so actually, before we get started in the chat, I want you to put one win that you have had already this week. It can be in training, it could be nutrition, it could be consistency wise, it could be personal life, any type of win that you have had this week. What is one win that I've had? I'm trying to think. I always think of my workouts. I did 315 on hip thrust, which I was excited about. I haven't done that in a while. Oh, I did 25-pound chin up for 2 reps, which is a PR for me. So I'm really excited. So that's my win. Put a win in the chat. Any type of win. Never budge from my meal prep meals. I love that. I've been seeing your meals. I'm like, okay, we're fueling. We're eating more. I'm here for it. Got my protein back to over 100 grams consistently. Love that. It's definitely not easy. Protein is always going to be the most difficult part of the journey. But once we make that a habit, it gets easier and easier. Anybody else? Put your wins in the chat. Training, nutrition, consistency, anything. Meals are consistent this week, especially being away. I love that. Have you found that it's been, I know last week was a little, I guess, crazier for you? Did it get easier?
It definitely is easier because I'm being conscious of what I'm eating. And like, I love chocolate croissants and the buffet has them, but I only had 1 today. Instead, I normally usually have 4.
Okay.
So I did an omelet with like spinach. I had my croissant, but then I had a yogurt. So it's just like me being conscious. Like dinner, I wanted lasagna, but they had a spinach lasagna. So I did that one instead. And it didn't feel as heavy. So like normally I feel like groggy and stuff after eating out, like being on vacation. And like I haven't been feeling. So I'm excited. It's weird because my work, everything's like crazy right now. I just want to go home and like get back into my routine. And like I don't want to talk to anybody, but I can't. So it's okay. It'll come. So I'm excited just because I've enjoyed the progress that I've made so far. So I don't want to ruin it.
I love that. I like the fact that you always bring it back to like feel better. I don't feel as heavy, like always thinking about that, how you're going to feel, just makes it a lot easier. We're going to talk about that a lot today. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Awesome. Maggie, slowly but surely increasing my meals. Love it. Love it. Cool. So we're feeling good. All right. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen here. And then we can just go into it. All right, so if you can see my screen, put a number 1 in the chat. See if I can make this smaller. Put a number 1 in the chat. All right, cool. Perfect. Okay, so today we are talking about Fit Chick Thanksgiving. We are going to go over the ultimate habits to eat with freedom while staying on track. Before I get into that, for anybody that is now in the tracking your nutrition and tracking your calories, I will say from the beginning, I do not expect you to actually not expect you, like I really don't want you to track at all on Thanksgiving. Don't bring your little scale, don't bring your measuring tools. You are all very much aware of your portion sizes at this point. So just be very mindful and use all of these habits and all of the things that you have learned in order to kind of track in your head. I'm sure a lot of you track in your head already as it goes. So that's basically what we're trying to get to here. So let's get into it. All right. So number 1, these habits that we're going to talk about today, they are going to be very different. They may be very different for you, and they're going to push you One thing that I want you to understand is when you change your habits, that is when you change your life. So it's not going to work out like today or like this month that makes a big difference for you. It's not even going to the gym for the next 6 months. It's going to the gym for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And that's what really changes your life. So these habits, I want you to continue to practice them, not only for Thanksgiving, but any events. I personally love to use this for any event. And then with that, I will say, oh no, why didn't it go? Oh, it's okay. With that, be very kind to yourself and be very patient with yourself. Again, these habits are going to be different, but just be very intentional with what you're learning today in order to actually practice them and find the habits that work best for you. What I've kind of created today is just years of trying to create this lifestyle for myself. As you guys have known, I have struggled with chronic dieting my entire life, binging on holidays, feeling terrible, gaining a ton of weight for my birthday, for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, like all of the above. And it just comes down to that restriction, which leads to the binge and just not getting habits in place. So this is kind of where I built this from today. So today's objectives are going to be non-negotiable daily checklists for everybody to make sure they get done on the day of. We're going to talk about balancing your day, balancing your Thanksgiving meals, and also mindful eating habits. If you have questions at any point, I recommend just unmuting yourself because sometimes I don't see the chat unless I open it up, but I'm also kind of technologically challenged, so I lose it. But if you have any questions, just unmute yourself. So let's just get into it. Non-negotiable daily habits. I'm going to keep it so simple for you. So simple. You're probably like, oh, I know that. And I'm very proud that you did. Two things, workout or movement and 100 ounces of water. The reason that I put workout/movement is because you have 5 workouts that you have to complete for the week. If you don't work out on Thanksgiving, that's not a problem. You still have the chance to get your 5 workouts in, but make it a job for yourself and 100% you owe it to your body to get some type of movement. So get your steps in, go for a walk, make movement an intentional part of your day. It could be yoga, it could be stretching. How can we create a positive environment with your body right from the beginning of the day? So personally, myself, I might work out, I might not. It's Anna's birthday the night before, so who knows what I'll be doing, but I'll go for a walk, get my steps. However, movement or workout is for you, make sure you get that done. Number 2 is going to be water. Water intake, make sure you are hydrated. This is not only going to keep you full, but it's also going to make sure that your hunger signals aren't telling you like, hey, you're still hungry, get more food, when in reality, you're just dehydrated and you haven't drank enough water. So non-negotiable daily habits, get your workout in or get some type of movement and 100 ounces of water. So I want you to write this down. On Thanksgiving, I am going to move my body and drink 100 ounces of water. Put it in your notes, put it on a piece of paper. On Thanksgiving, I am going to move my body and drink 100 ounces of water. Actually, let's change I'm going to. Just put I move my body and drink 100 ounces of water. Let's put it into the present. I forgot we did the affirmations call. So that's me catching myself, right? So we're not going to say I'm going to, right? We're going to act as that person today. So on Thanksgiving, I move my body and drink 100 ounces of water. Language is everything. So let's get into prepping for the day. Again, keeping it very, very simple. Nutrition doesn't have to be complicated, but we're just working on very simple habits that maybe we're not doing. So to start your day, I want you to have your usual hearty breakfast. So do not restrict yourself of food, thinking like, oh, I'm going to eat so much later. I need to save all of my calories. Do not do that. Whether you're having dinner, whether you're having lunch with your family, do not restrict yourself. Wake up and have some type of hearty breakfast. The reason that we do this is not only to actually put something in our system so we're not starving later, but also to teach yourself and to tell yourself how you want to fuel for the day. Because if you start your day with a hearty breakfast, you're already putting it out there that you are going to make better decisions for your body. So it can be lighter. 100%. If you don't want to have your usual, if your breakfast is usually pretty big and you want to bring it back a little bit, that's fine. Just make sure that there's protein in it and there are nutrients, fruits, vegetables, what a hearty breakfast is for you. And make sure that it satisfies your cravings. That I think is huge. That's my favorite thing about breakfast. Like, how can I set my day up for minimal cravings? Have your favorite meal. And then for lunch, simple, a light lunch or a snack. Again, this kind of depends on when you have your Thanksgiving. Are you having it for lunch? Are you having it for dinner? So if you have it for dinner, have a light lunch, have a salad, have something. Just do not go into Thanksgiving starving. We want to, in a sense, treat all meals when we have holidays and when we're eating out. We kind of want them all to be like the same. In the, I guess, most positive way of putting that, we want meals to be more about the experience and enjoying the meal rather than feeling like they are like the only time you can do something. So fuel your day the same amount, just cut down a little bit, and make sure we save up in a sense. But protein and nutrients are definitely in there. So this is an example of how my day might go. I'm not gonna have all of this right before Thanksgiving. I can't eat all of that food, but I'm probably going to pick two of these. So just considering how I usually go about my day, I am probably going to either have a protein shake in the morning and then go to the gym and then come home and have like a spinach and egg sandwich, or I'm going to have like my protein rice cakes and then a sandwich. So I'm probably going to pick two of these. So these can be examples of how you can go about your day. But again, make sure that we are telling our bodies, hey, I'm giving you protein. I'm listening to you and giving you fuel so that you can be energized. And later we are going to have full control of that meal. We're going to be mindful. So I don't want you to be super hungry. Now, when we go about balancing your Thanksgiving meal, I think this is the most important part of this whole slideshow, I would say. We're going to talk about two different things. We'll start with building your plate. All right. So very simple. When you're going up and you're choosing your meal, everybody's is different. My family does like buffet style. We have like so much food. There's not even that many of us. So much food. Protein and veggies are first. Pick them first and fill your plate with them first. Second, avoid the fluff. So what I mean by that is if you want it, get it. And if you don't care for it, just leave it. So I like to relate this to like, you know, that piece of bread that's just there and we kind of just grab it out of habit. But like, I don't really care for the bread, but I'm going to get the bread because like I usually get the bread and it's there. Like, do you really want the bread? Or are we having the pasta and the rice and the potatoes? So if you don't really want it, don't get it. If you don't care for it, but if you do, 100% get it. So this way we are making that room for what you truly want in your body and what should be in your body. And then one plate. So we want to minimize / avoid. I don't want to just put like extremes, but avoiding second plates. So what I found over just a lot of experience with myself, talking to people and also seeing other people during these events, like when I see my family or friends on Thanksgiving, I hear a common thing of like, oh, I'm only going to get a little bit right now, but then I'm going to get up for seconds. And what I've noticed, and personally what I did for when I would do this, is the reason that we don't want to get the amount of food that we would get now is to kind of make it seem like, oh, my plate doesn't have a lot right now, so I'm really not eating a lot. And it's that fear of seeing a lot on your plate. But if we become super intentional with how much food you really want and how much food is actually going to satisfy you, we can put that all into one plate. When you try to go for less and then go for a second plate, you end up eating like 3 times as much. So instead, put a little more. Listen to yourself. I do want this amount, and don't be afraid. Know consciously, this plate that I'm having right now, although it's kind of like packed, this is the amount that I want and this is the amount that I need. Right? Don't try to split it into two to make it seem like, oh, I didn't have that much. No, girl, you had 2 plates, but they were both small. And second, dessert and alcohol. So this part, you can't have it all. You can't have every single dessert, every single drink. Last Thanksgiving, we had like, if you know what coquito is, we had wine, we had desserts, and like I had a little shot of the coquito, and like my family was all passing it around. And I'm like, if I keep having this and I keep having my wine and I keep having these desserts, I'm gonna be stuffed and I'm gonna feel terrible. So yes, you can try them. So I think of it like this with desserts. If there's a bunch of like, let's say there's 4 different cakes. I don't know how your Thanksgiving goes. There's 4 different cakes. You can try them all, but you don't need a massive slice of each. So I get made fun of a lot because I'll literally take like a small piece of every single dessert that's there. And it ends up looking kind of like what a portion size of like quote unquote like a regular portion of a dessert would be, but I got to try all of them. That's personally how I like to go about it because I love food and I love tasting all foods. So I taste them all and I see like, oh, if this one I don't want it, I just leave it. But it's more so of like, how much do I want? How much is going to actually satisfy my craving? And it's less than you think. You don't need a massive piece of the pecan pie, the pumpkin pie, the rice pudding. Like that's going to make you feel really, really stuffed. So you'll notice that your cravings will be satisfied if you just have like a little piece of each one. So sample them all if needed. But again, you can't have it all. You can't have every single thing that's there in whole portions, like massive, because you're going to feel super, super sluggish. So this sentence right here, this is actually my personal favorite way to go about all things nutrition. I think if you take this with you and start choosing your portions like this for the rest of your life, it's going to really move you forward and start listening to your body, your cravings, and start making better decisions. So pick a portion that is going to make you feel good. So I really like the fact that Genesis, when you started the call, you mentioned like I had 1 croissant and I didn't have the 4, right? So you probably realize I satisfied my cravings, but I didn't overstuff myself where like I didn't really need all 4. And you mentioned I started to feel better. I'm not feeling as sluggish. So although it's so normalized to like, oh my God, I'm in such a food coma after Thanksgiving, is it really like, is that cool? Is that really what we want to go for? Do we want to feel sluggish? Do we want to lay on the couch like, oh my God, I feel terrible? Or do we want to enjoy the meal and still feel good? So when you go about any portion, cake, it could be next month at your friend's birthday and they have cake. What is a portion that is going to make you feel good? Satisfy your craving, but also keep you with energy. So keep the sentence, put it on your friend's forehead, wherever you need to see it. And now let's get into mindful eating. Slow down. We get real excited. And this brings us back. So a lot of these habits kind of all tie in together. Slow down. The reason that a lot of people will rush into their meals and they just eat it all right away is usually because we hear it, and you'll probably hear it. You'll start to like notice other people around you as well. Like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. I'm starving. I can't wait to eat. And then they eat and then they inhale their plate. But if we already fueled ourselves throughout the day, we go into Thanksgiving, that meal, and we can pause and we can be intentional with our meal and we can enjoy it. So by not going in hungry, we can slow down. But when you're about to go into your meal, slow down, right? Let your hunger signals actually kick in. Do you want that second plate, or is it because you inhaled your food and you think you're hungry, but then you got that second plate and now you're in a food coma? So slow down. And most importantly, taste and appreciate your food. One of my favorite quotes right now, or like little things, is like, food is love. Food tastes good. Food is culture. Food is time with family. But most importantly, like, food tastes real good. And if you eat your entire plate and you didn't realize like, oh shit, my plate is gone, I didn't even pay attention to any of this. So slow down. Personally, how I go about this is before I start all my meals now, I like take a couple deep breaths and then I go into my meal. It's a habit that I started. If you followed along with my journey in October, I did like a 30-day challenge of like smelling my food before I ate it. and I would spend like 30 seconds like smelling my food, looking at my food, and breathing, and it helped me be more present for my actual meal and like taste what I'm actually eating. And second, enjoy your company. So although Thanksgiving is very much a lot about food and everybody talks about food and all the good food that we're making, it is also about being with the people that you're with and actually celebrating the holiday, being thankful for the people that you're with. So don't make it all about food. Actually enjoy your company. So slow down, eat your food, talk to the person next to you, right? Taste it, and then enjoy the people that you're actually with. Couple last things that I want to talk about is peer pressure. We love peer pressure. We love fit shaming. Oh my gosh. It's just one day, Nicole. Like, it's just one day, Jen, Sarah. The one piece of the cake, it's not going to kill you, but I made this for you. You used to love this. Boundaries. Stop saying yes to other people and saying no to yourself. You do not have to have dessert if you don't want dessert. It's not just one day. It doesn't matter if it's one day or 10 days. If you don't want it, say no. If it's something that you used to have in the past, say something super fried and oily, you don't really love it anymore, your family's so used to you having it all the time, but you don't want it anymore, say no. So you don't owe any type of explanation. You have to start setting these boundaries. And now this is very new for you. Oh, you're on a diet? Oh my gosh, it's just one day. Like, have the piece of cake. We hear it all. Just say no. When you start setting these hard boundaries and when you become a no girl, people will start to respect your boundaries a lot more. But when you give in, oh, okay, fine, it just keeps coming. And then it happens over and over and over and over again. So now that you're on this journey, now that you are officially fit chick, rare breed, because you are definitely rare, what you guys do is not what most people are doing. No one's lifting as much as you are doing and putting that much effort into your nutrition. So have those boundaries and know that everything that you're doing is totally okay to be doing. And if you haven't already, we did a lesson on this a couple weeks ago. It was overcoming peer pressure and fit chick shaming comments. So if you want that, just shoot me a message after this call with like, hey, Nicole, can you send me the peer pressure lesson? And I go into full detail on all of this if this is something that you've struggled with and you struggle with setting those boundaries or knowing what to say. But just to recap on everything, try to keep it pretty simple, even though it kind of went a little long. Non-negotiables, movement, and your water has to be done before the Thanksgiving meal. Well, the water can be during. Prepping for your day, keep it high protein, keep it nutrient dense, keep it light, have your breakfast, have your lunch, but tell yourself how you are going to be fueling today. Are you going to be restricting? What does restricting cause? It causes a binge. Are we going to be snacking all day? What does snacking cause? That means we're going to be snacking on all the chips later and all the things. So the habits that you set in the morning are the habits that you're bringing at night. Balance your plate. Protein and veggies come first. Avoid any of the fluff that you don't really care for. All right, this is new for you. It's going to be different. You might miss that bread a little bit. You might still grab it, have a piece, and be like, ah, she was right. And lastly, avoid second plates. Be intentional and see how much you are putting in your body. When we see it on one plate, you start to be more aware of like, oh, this is how much I really eat, and there's nothing wrong with it. I can have a big meal. You're going to eat all of that? Hell yeah, I am. And mindful eating. Make sure we slow down. Make sure we are present throughout the entire meal. And lastly, be gentle with yourself. So a lot of these habits, maybe right now you might go into Thanksgiving and you're a little nervous. Damn, I'm on this journey. Like, I'm deep into my cut. Like, you're all in different points, but be gentle with yourself. Like, you're not going to do anything wrong. There's nothing that you can do that's really going to turn your like fitness journey into a downward spiral, but be patient. And be intentional and like think before you actually do. Because remember, all of these habits that you're setting now, they're not just like, oh yeah, I joined this program and all of a sudden I'm the perfect habits. Like, it's not how it happens. We have to be intentional with them. So be gentle, think about these things. And yeah, I think I had one more. And that's it. So pretty simple. I tried to keep it. I appreciate you guys listening to that. Do we have any questions? How do I turn this off? Do we have any particular questions on anything that we've spoken about? Was it pretty simple? Oops. No questions. All right. So we'll make this a little interactive real quick before I let you guys go. So in the chat, put one thing that really resonated with you and you feel that you'll need to implement. Like, oh, okay, this one I haven't been doing and I'm going to start implementing that. So put in the chat one thing that resonated with you and that you are going to implement. Be gentle with myself. Okay, I like that. Setting food boundaries. Setting food boundaries. All types of food boundaries. Boundaries in general. You're all going to become no girls. There is nothing wrong with saying no. But people will respect you a lot more when you do. And then you can show up better for people because you're saying yes to yourself first. No tracking. Yes. No need to track. If you want to track the beginning of your day, I mean, you can go for it, but just be mindful. Oh, you're on a diet? My response would be, no, I'm on a fit chick journey. We love that. Yes, we love that. I don't know how your family is, especially being like the fitness coach. I get all the diet questions. And if anyone knows you're on a fitness journey, you're going to get all the diet questions. So yeah, just be like, no, I just eat to feel good. And then they kind of get shook. I love to make people shook when I answer my questions. Don't go for seconds. Know your portion size. Yes, that's my number one. I have a bad habit of always going for seconds. And it kind of stemmed from not wanting to see a lot on my plate. So that's definitely one that I will be doing as well. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So before I let you guys go, does anybody want to share something in particular? Maybe it can, we'll start with this part. Maybe something that you've learned if you've been in here for a longer period of time and you want to share your experience, something that's worked for you. For other members, you can feel free and unmute yourself if you have anything to share.
I would say that the planning aspect definitely plays a key role into it. And I didn't realize how much I depended on it until I got thrown out of my routine, where I'm just like I said earlier, like, can I go home now? I just want to get back to it. So for those who are starting off, planning your day, planning your meals, it actually does work, because then you just go into it like, this is what I'm going to do. And even if you change your mind throughout the day in terms of what you're going to eat, you still have an idea of what you're doing throughout the day to make it easier.
I love that. Yeah, I like that you mentioned the changing your mind. I think just having like a set amount of like meals that you usually go for on a day to day, it makes things easier. But when you go into like, when you wake up and you have no idea how your day is going to go, it either turns into like, I'm not eating, I'm overeating, or I'm snacking for the rest of the day.
And it's not a bad thing to eat the same things in the beginning, because it makes it easier. And then as you're going on and like make slight adjustments, or even finding like adjustments to like the things that you like I got really into like poutine fries before I started this journey. And I love cheese. Like, there was nothing that I don't love more than cheese. So what I started doing was I started roasting the potatoes, and I got the cheese curds from the grocery store. I just left out the gravy. So like, you're still having like, you still feel like you're having the fries. They're healthier. You're omitting like the most of the fat, but you're still getting your protein from the cheese. So that's what I started doing. And then I throw like salmon or shrimp into it.
I love that. Girl, you are
I
on fire.
I'm trying. It's really hard on vacation. I'm struggling, but I'm trying. So.
I like that. I like that you are now learning this new experience of what vacation nutrition will be.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anybody else, anything you wanted to add on to that or share? Christine said, using a gallon size water helps me keep track of my water intake. Yes, that's huge. I use I have a 40 ounce and I just try to make checkpoints throughout the day where I refill it up. But I left it in the car the other day and I didn't want to go get it. So I just started doing like glasses of water. And by the end of the day, I was like super dehydrated. I was like, damn, this makes sense why I have my 40 ounce. Anybody else? All right. Do we have any questions on anything not related to Thanksgiving or anything? It could be training. It could be something that popped up this week that you just have a quick question on, and then we'll wrap up from there. If you do, did I get any good questions this week? Oh, actually, I'm gonna add a question that Christine asked me this week, which might work for you guys as well for Thanksgiving week. If you have, I don't know what you have planned, but she asked if she can do her 3 lifts back to back. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because she's going away on Thursday. And that 100% can be done. So we don't necessarily want to do that all the time because the 3 lifts are going to be hard. But if need be, you guys can do that 100%. I just make sure your top priority is getting those 3 lifts in, and then everything else. If we miss one, let's say, let it be an accessory day. But if the number one is how can I be consistent? So if needed next week and you need to do workout 1, 2, 3, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just do that and then fill in your accessory throughout the week. That's actually probably what I'll do unless I work out Saturday. All right, cool. So before I let you go, in the chat, put one. What did we do last week? I like the one that we did last week. Let's put in the chat one thing that you will accomplish in training this week. One thing that you will accomplish in training this week. So if you have a lift, if it's a consistency thing, what is one thing that you will accomplish in training this week? What is mine? I have one more lift left. Hip thrust over 200 pounds. Yes. I love that. I think I have an AMRAP of chin-ups tomorrow. I want to say I'm going to get 9. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to get 9 chin-ups. I'm like at 8 right now, but I'm just going to say 9. Anna somehow passed me in chin-ups in bench press. So I'm going through like this crazy competitive thing with her, but don't tell her because then she might continue beating me. Going heavier on deadlifts, love that. Squats, love that. Squat over 115 more consistently. I love that. Awesome. So big goals for this week. Again, they can be very simple, but when we set those intentions, it makes it easier. Next, I think what we'll start doing for this one, I know last week, I really like last week's, which is like a number 1 goal that you guys are going to set. So we'll start doing that until that becomes reality for you so we can get hyper focused. For me, it was 10 chin-ups by the end of the year. So we'll just keep repeating it. Same with Genesis, going heavier. Love it. Awesome. So thank you guys for coming on here today. I appreciate you learning with me. If you have any questions, let me know and make sure we are 100% implementing this. I will remind you at some point next week of all the things that we practice on Thanksgiving, but don't just let this go out of the way. Take a moment right after this call to just kind of process everything again and just journal it out. Like, what did I learn today? What do I want to implement and who do I want to become? So awesome. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye.